Heath Slater. Heath Slater has a lot going on for Bound for Glory, because just when you thought that Heath Slater isn't going to sign a contract with Impact Wrestling, he is added to the Call Your Shot gauntlet match at Bound for Glory. Now, last we saw Heath in Impact Wrestling, or for the last few months certainly with Heath in Impact Wrestling, we've seen him trying to secure a contract with the promotion. It ended last time when he was actually in negotiations with Executive Vice President Scott D'Amore. Scott D'Amore threw a hissy fit, threw up the papers in the air over a difference in monetary value, because Scott D'Amore had one value of Heath Slater, Heath, in mind, and Heath had a much larger number in what his value was. So Scott D'Amore threw the papers in the air, stormed out, and a discouraged Heath went on to blame Rhino for his advice to leave a WWE offer and come to Impact Wrestling instead. Now, Rhino took this disappointment from Heath to heart and made a special deal to get Heath one last shot. It's like Christian in WWE, one more match, one more shot at potentially getting an Impact Wrestling contract. And that will be in the Call Your Shot gauntlet match at Bound for Glory on October 24. Now, if either Heath or Rhino wins the gauntlet match, then Heath will be given a full-time contract with the company on top of winning that match, which gets you a title opportunity of your choosing. And not only that, Heath will also get the contract with the big figure that he had in mind. However, the catch is, there's two catches when it comes to this. One being that if Heath does not win, there will be no more opportunities for Heath in Impact Wrestling. Now, Heath, he seems excited by this, reinvigorated by this potential opportunity to join Impact Wrestling. So he left the scene, and then Scott D'Amore came in to remind Rhino of the second catch in this deal that he made. He reminded that if Rhino or Heath does not win the match, then Rhino's contract, in addition to Heath not getting any opportunities, is also cut. Now, Heath is currently unaware of the sacrifice that Rhino has put on the table. So it looks like that potentially this Call Your Shot gauntlet match is going to feature or be centered around pretty much Rhino and Heath going forward. Now, next week on Impact Wrestling, Heath will have an opportunity to win the 20th entrance spot for the Call Your Shot gauntlet match if he wins this 5-way match against Rhino, Cousin Jake, Hernandez, and Alicia Edwards. That spot is his. That 20th spot is his if he wins that match. Whoever takes the loss will enter first. Now, obviously, just in case you haven't seen the Call Your Shot gauntlet match before at Bound for Glory, it essentially is like a Royal Rumble match. The difference is the final two square off in a regular match at the end, and the winner will earn a title shot for any Impact Wrestling Championship of their choosing. So, this Heath storyline so far. Of course, Heath made his Impact debut at Slammiversary, came through the crowd, even though there wasn't a crowd there at the time, but he came through the crowd, and since then he's been trying to secure a contract with the promotion. Now, before I say some criticisms of this storyline, I must say there have been parts of this storyline that I've really enjoyed. There really have been. I thought the vignette they aired a couple of weeks ago on Impact Wrestling was awesome. The one with all the cameos of the celebrities. You had David Hasselhoff in there. I think Chuck Norris was in there too. All of them were saying, you've got to sign Heath. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. You've got to sign Heath. I thought that was great. I thought that was really fun and a great vignette. And this whole storyline, it's been a fun way to introduce Heath to Impact, I guess. But if I'm being brutally honest, I wanted more. I did want more. Heath Slater in WWE, he's a comedy guy. He obviously had a ceiling in WWE, which was the mid-card, and he was a relatively successful tag team wrestler, but he was always a comedy wrestler. He was never going to be in the main event. He's never going to be WWE champion, never going to be Universal champion. I don't even think he was going to be Intercontinental US champion. That just wasn't going to happen. That wasn't on the cards for Heath. That's not a reflection of his talent. That just wasn't going to happen. Now, how many factions was Heath Slater in WWE? Well, he was in the Nexus, the Core, the Social Outcast, 3MB. He was teamed up with Rhino, and he's a multiple-time tag team champion. He's the first ever SmackDown tag team champion, right? So it's not as if he wasn't successful in WWE. He was. But he was a comedy guy. He was a comedy wrestler. That was his ceiling. And I think the thing that frustrates me the most about this Impact free agent storyline is we've seen this before, especially with Heath Slater. We've seen the free agent gimmick in WWE in 2016. WWE back then had its second brand extension. They divided the roster into Raw and SmackDown, and Heath Slater wasn't drafted to either Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live. He wasn't. So what that led to was a storyline whereby Heath Slater would appear on both shows. He would gate crash both shows, all in an attempt to get signed. And you even had guys like Jinder Mahal turn on him, former 3MB teammate, to get signed for Raw. Rhino showed up on SmackDown. He gored Heath Slater to get signed to SmackDown. And they were all signed to the brand instead. And Heath was without contract. You even had the famous segment between Heath and Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw, where he says, I've got kids. And then Brock Lesnar says, I don't give a bleep about your kids. I mean, family friendly YouTube, come on. So eventually he teams with Rhino. They get signed. They become SmackDown Tag Team Champions. But they were a comedy team. They did comedy segments. And that was it. And that's why when it came to Heath Slater in WWE, when Heath was released earlier this year, in April, due to the budget cuts associated with the pandemic, I thought, you know what? This might be the best thing for Heath. This might be the best thing for him. He's been with the WWE for what? 10 years? Longer if you count developmental. He can go somewhere else, he can get a new persona, he can get a new look, a new attitude, he can reinvent himself, prove that he's more than just a comedy guy he can get over. And then he showed up. He showed up on Monday Night Raw, did that segment with the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. He looked in great shape. It was an emotional promo. It was a heartfelt promo. He was serious. His tone was serious, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And it's one of the promos of the year on WWE TV this year. Even today of every promo that we've seen, it is one of the best promos of this year. Go back and watch it. It's fantastic. And I looked at that and I watched that segment and I said, yes, that's exactly what Heath Slater can be. That Heath Slater can go to another company like an Impact Wrestling and he can be a world champion. He can be a world champion if he does that persona. So when he showed up at Slammiversary, I was super excited because I thought, you know what, this might be the start of something really exciting for Heath Slater. This might be the start of something of possibly becoming a world champion in Impact Wrestling. And then we're doing the whole free agent angle again. And again, it's kind of like, we've seen this before. And he's still doing the comedy stuff in Impact Wrestling. And, you know, I understand suspension of disbelief when it comes to professional wrestling. You know, you have to take a leap of faith when it comes to logic sometimes. But we know that Heath is really signed to Impact Wrestling. We know that's the case. He's been signed to Impact Wrestling since, he's been signed since Slammiversary. And I think at this stage, that was July, we're in October now, nearly halfway through October, I want to see Heath in Impact Wrestling in a more serious light. I want to see Heath be serious. I want to see him work a serious program. I want to see him cut serious promos. And I still do think he has the potential to be a world champion in Impact Wrestling. I think it's possible. I just don't want, or I don't feel the audience needs to see a rehash of an old WWE angle, especially in Impact Wrestling. I mean, it's one thing to redo an angle in WWE again, but it's another to do it in a different company. And I know they're trying to play to maybe Heath's strengths, that he does a very entertaining comedic persona and he does very entertaining comedic promos, but I think there's more to him. I do think there's more to him. So when it comes to Bound for Glory, when it comes to the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, I mean, surely the payoff here has to be that Heath is coming out of Bound for Glory with a contract. That just has to be the case. Surely the payoff is that Heath wins here, right? I mean, it has to be. It has to be. So I think Heath will win this match. I think Heath will come out of Bound for Glory as the winner and come out to Bound for Glory with an Impact Wrestling contract. If that's not all what this has been for, then what is going on? What I wouldn't mind, though, and I don't mean to sound like Vince Russo or anything like that, but I wouldn't mind a bit of a swerve here. I think this is the opportunity to do a bit of a swerve, do something a bit iconic. What I wouldn't mind is that the final two men in the match are Heath and Rhino. So all the fans watching at home are thinking it's a success. The final two guys in the gauntlet match, it's Heath and Rhino. We're guaranteed that Heath is getting a contract here. Heath is signed with Impact and Rhino keeps his job. It's win-win. The final two guys, they did it. And then basically, what I would like to see is Heath just absolutely brutalize Rhino. Just beat the hell out of him. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he wins, I suppose, but just beat the hell out of him. Attack him from behind, beat the hell out of him and be like, now I've got what I want. I don't need you anymore. And basically then it can be revealed that Heath just used Rhino. He used him just to get a contract, just to get him a job, and that's it. And that's when we see this new Heath. That's when we see the Heath that I want to see. That's when we see this serious, evil heel version of Heath. No comedy, no friends, just business and focused on the main prize, focused on money for his kids. You can keep the kids stuff there, but a more serious version of that. because at this point, not only does Heath have the Impact contract there, but because he won the match, he also has a championship opportunity. So this new evil villainous Heath can then decide to face, possibly, depending on the outcome of the main event, the new Impact World Champion Rich Swann. And then you have what I would like to see, which is Heath in the main event picture, a new persona, a new attitude, with a completely new character, something completely different to what he was doing in WWE. And I think that could work. I think that could be absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, is that going to happen? I have no idea. I don't have any insider information. This is just me as a fan saying what I would like to see. But I think it's possible. This whole match is built around the Heath storyline. So I think the outcome, regardless, is that Heath wins and is signed to a contract. So why not, at the end of it, completely turn on Rhino, beat the hell out of him, said I used you to get the contract and a title opportunity, and now I'm going after the main prize. I'm actually going to really feed my kids with that main event championship money. I think that could be very entertaining. I think that could be very rewarding, and it's a completely different direction to this Heath storyline, and I think it's a different direction that we need to go in when it comes to Heath and Impact Wrestling. I think the comedy stuff, that's done. Let's leave that in the past. Let's leave that in WWE. Let's do something different. And let's let Heath reach his potential that I don't think he ever really reached in WWE because he never got the opportunity, and now he does. So I think that's where they should go. It's not a case of if they will go there, but we'll have to wait and see. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal Gauntlet match, whatever it is, at Bound for Glory? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you like to see Heath win? Would you like to see Heath turn heel? Do you think Heath and Rhino will win, or do you think they'll carry on the storyline another way? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Really just help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings, and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. We're about 16 subscribers away from 1,000, so if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to Wrestle News 365, click that notification bell, you won't miss another video, and we can get closer and closer to that 1,000 subscriber goal. If you have subscribed already, just know that I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.